Welcome to For the Love of Words. I'm your host, Priscilla Almquist Olson, and today is April 10th, 2024. And as my guest, as our featured musicians-songwriters, I have Ellen Breen and Nelson Hiller of the group called Sinner's Pie. So welcome, Ellen, and welcome, Nelson.
Thank you.
And tell me, what's the meaning and the derivation of that name, Sinner's Pie?
There was a fiddle song called Luthean Pie. Was it Luthean? It was one of the, but it was, and Carol, who I initially played with, just kind of thought that she liked the idea of it and decided that Sinner's Pie would be a good name to go with. Mm-hmm. I was a little skeptical at first. I didn't know if the sinner's part wouldn't allow us to play in some of the churches that we've been playing in. But it turns out it's kind of the other way around, like, have a slice of pie and find your way kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Great.
We have capitalized on the pie thing on a couple of occasions where we've actually brought some pie.
Yeah.
To some gigs, but yeah, it's definitely catchy. And even once, when Carol passed, which was, it was kind of like, well, the name was there and it's a great name as far as I'm concerned. So
It's different.
It's different, yeah, it really is. Because people always ask that question, where'd you get that name? Right?
We've had people make a sinner's pie.
Oh, right.
They actually compile, make their own version of what a sinner's pie is. So, which is kind of fun. So.
It is. So, Ellen, tell me a little bit about your childhood. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Warren, Rhode Island, and my family had not for 100 years like Nelson's or a million or 300 years, whatever. But my grandfather built the house that my mom grew up in.
Nelson, how about you? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mattapoisett, Massachusetts.
Oh boy, okay. And so each of you, I'd like to hear about your childhood, if there were any influences that impacted your musical career and journey.
So my dad, he actually built cases for albums because he was so into music, because not many things fit an album, It wasn't like a bookcase would fit for an album. So he kind of organized them according to classical music. And he was the first person I knew who listened to folk music. So we had early Bob Dylan in the house, and Joni Mitchell and Judy Collins, and even when I was in college, came home at one point, and he had gone to see The Harder They Come, which was one of the initial reggae, one of the initial reggae films, and he had that soundtrack. So he was a big influence on me in terms of my musical. Mm-hmm. Just in terms, and then it expanded from there. But I really got a lot of, he influenced me a lot. Wow. Just exposing me to music.
And Nelson, did you have anyone musical in your family?
My mom was she was a tap dancer, and she didn't play an instrument, but there was always a piano in the house. And they were quite a bit older, meaning that my mom was 40 when I was born and my father was 48, so they were big band era. Benny Goodman was a big part of that. In elementary school, I took up the trumpet, and I played trumpet through that junior high school and maybe a year and a half in high school, and then I found the guitar and seemed to be more sort of social.
History was made from there, right? You found the guitar, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? Okay.
You think I'd be better by now? That was a long time ago.
So, what kind of music? How would you characterize your music?
Kind of a little all over the place, but I mean, it's roots in bluegrass, I guess Americana, folk. We both write. We write differently.
Now, do you ever collaborate, or do you do mostly writing alone?
Well, that's interesting, because I think we bring written songs to the band, but we totally collaborate. So it's like, for one of the songs I think we're going to do tonight was one of the first songs I ever wrote. And it was a blues song. It was a breakup song, basically. And I brought it, and I knew the melody, and I knew that, I had written the lyrics, but I had trouble kind of with the progression. So Nelson kind of jumped in, and the song became something totally different. And I think that's the beauty of sometimes when two people are writing different things, that you can kind of contribute to each other, or you have a different perspective.
Right.
You each do. So, and that adds.
So Nelson, did the words come first or the melody?
It's a combination. For a long time, it was words first. So I'd be on one of those good days that things were sort of coming off the pencil. I was just kind of following the pencil around. And at some point along the way, a chord progression or a melody would come along, and I'd go flip through the book. And I'd try to find words that would fit in this particular melody. A lot of times I would write songs to this one fiddle tune called Over the Waterfall, and I would kind of ghost write on top of it, just so I got a cadence there that I could sort of rhyme to, and I could keep those in the book, and then later be able to pull it out, put it to music, and then have to adjust it a little bit. Sometimes, pull some words out, or sometimes they both come at the same time. Sometimes it's music first. It all depends.
So Ellen, do you get a lot of your topics from your own life, or from the life of your family or friends, or do you get it from what's going on in the world?
It's sometimes it's personal. It's generally personal for me, and we're kind of different about that a little bit, Olson and I, but generally it's personal in terms of, a feeling that I've had and I want to write about. I mean, I've written things. I work as a speech language pathologist, and I've done it all my life. And, I've written songs about my students, or some student that's struggling. So it kind of generally is, happens in regards to personal experience, I would say.
How about you, Nelson?
I really just make mine up. So, meaning I will take a guitar play and just sort of scat and make up words and record it, and then come back and have different ideas. I have this tool that I use where I free write a couple times a week in the morning, where I just write for 10 minutes and just let it go where it's going to go. Try not to follow it, try not to push it, angle it, but just go where it goes. And I got that from a songwriting weekend I went to. And then in there are these little nuggets of things that I can use. I'll take those out, I'll put those on another page. That's one way that works. And sometimes it's just, I just get an idea when I'm mowing the grass. And I shut the lawnmower off and I run inside and I write something down.
So you don't carry pen and pad with you everywhere?
No, well, not with the phone. You can just kind of talk into it now. So
Yeah,
if you're not around, I'll talk in or I'll sing into the phone, and so I don't forget it. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna forget.
Yeah, and like sometimes that idea, like one line. I mean, I've had that where that's happened, where it's like, okay, I've got this one line of this song, and I need to make that a song.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like going around in my head.
Yeah.
So like I need to kind of like expand and make it something,
Have you ever experienced that? Have you heard a song and it's inspired you, whether it's the lyrics or the melody or something like that?
Yes, and the trick is to get far enough away from it so you're not just playing that song again. And there's a lot of mine that are like that are well camouflaged, but I'll tell you that someday somebody's going to find out what I've been doing. But there's certainly that happens, chord progressions, and I'll just sort of go with it and then maybe change it a little bit, because there's a lot of wheels out there, and there's not a real reason to change them all. You listen to any song on the radio, it sounds like another song that was on the radio, just got some different words and different meaning to it. So they get, it's,
True.
all the notes have been played, right?
Yes,
They have been.
And all the themes have been sung.
I guess, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So what is the future for you for the Sinner's Pie?
This is it.
Yeah. We just play where we can play,
Yeah.
and we enjoy it. I enjoy the practice part probably more than anything, is
Okay.
to getting together and working out songs and getting them to sound, good. I
Yeah.
think I almost enjoy that more than the stage performance,
Yeah.
but I like them both. But I really like the collaboration and the work that goes in, because there's a lot more work that goes. This song might sound simple, but when you bring in the harmonies and the trying to change the words so they have a little more meaning, or
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've both done that, which has been great for both of us, because we pick up, Nelson's definitely a better musician than I am, but, I might add with a harmony or a vocal arrangement or something like that. And we've, that's been a nice, that collaboration is nice. And it's really nice to take something that's new. You know what I mean? Like take a song that really nobody's heard, that's yours, and make it something.
Yeah.
And that's been the thing
So
that I've enjoyed the most about this, Sinner's Pie.
thank you so much for being here.
No,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for
And
having
we're
us.
looking forward to your performance.
Okay,
Thanks.
great, thank you.
All right, hello everybody. We're Sinner's Pie, and the first song we're going to do is a song that I wrote called Round and Round, and it stems from family, singing about family going to church and living life in New England. And it goes just like this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Round and round the big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Round and round big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Well, it's off to church with family, hear the reverend preach, calling daddy a sinner, mommy's there to teach. Then we both get up together, sing his favorite song. Daddy would be crying in words like all is wrong. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Well, Monday Dad go working, Mama take the reins, trying to raise 3 children, not driving her insane. Ah, then come the weekend, old Dad be coming home, bringing gifts from far away, places we ain't never known. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Well, Friday mama's soap and beans, grandma's old white bowl, floating there 2 hours without every stone. Then she'll start to bake that bread, ancient recipe. It ain't changed for generations. Hey, that's alright by me. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go. Round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Well, sit down Sunday dinner, someone's gotta pray. Remembering what the Reverend said to help us change our ways. Dad's telling stories about places far away. I remember honing in on everything he'd say. He'd say, round and round, big old sun, round and round we go, round and round where she stops, heaven only knows. Round and round, big old sun, round and round we go, round and round where she stops, heaven only knows.
Okay, so I'm just going to actually introduce the band. So on my right, Jeremy plays on mandolin, and he can play any instrument probably that you give him, we think. We're pretty sure of that. My name is Ellen Breen, and on my left is Nelson Heller. And the next song that we're going to do is a song called Alibi, which I wrote. And I don't know, it started off, I think, as kind of like an angry song, but I just feel like it was like such a long time ago that I wrote it, that it's almost like how everybody has an alibi. You know, there's always like our politicians do, you know, we all do kind of, you know, we do, like there's that line of like, I don't really want to admit that I'm wrong.
Jeremy was late.
Yeah, he has an alibi, you know, there's always something. So anyway, it's called Alibi.
Just wanted a quick sandwich.
And we're gonna do it slower. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
So this is a song that came to me. I just made it up because I came up with a line. I heard somebody around a campfire say, I'm going through this for the last time again. And it just stuck me, and I just carried it around for a while, and then I came up with a song, and this is called Last Time Again. This time I'm glad to see you go. No more nights she's got to sitting by the door. I can't hear what you say. Don't matter anyway. I just think it's time we said goodbye for the last time again. Tell me, old friend, where will you be? Next time you sit beside on me, so I can turn and run away. Live without you one more day. I just think it's time we said goodbye for the last time again. One more time, say we tried. Say goodbye for the last time again. Came home last night, they were sitting on the porch. Had that look in your eye like you want fire up the torch. When you swoop in like this, make it hard to resist. I just think it's time we said goodbye for the last time again. One more time, say we tried. Say goodbye for the last time again. One more day, let's just say goodbye for the last time again. For the last time again. Say we tried. For the last time again. Say goodbye. For the last time again. Say we tried. For the last time again.
Okay, so this is the first song I ever wrote. It's called Elkins Blues. And it was just, again, I think we talked about it. I had written a lot of the words and the melody, and then Nelson kind of helped with the arrangement. So it's called Elkins Blues.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, everybody. Jeremy Place on the mandolin, rhythm guitar, and vocals. Ellen Breen, and I'm Nelson Miller, and we're enjoying this, and want to thank Easton Community Television for having us on board.
All right, welcome to For the Love of Words. I'm Priscilla Almquist Olson, your host, and today it's with great pleasure that I welcome Steve Anderson, who is a poet currently living in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and a friend of John Holgerson, who is normally the host of this program. But he is on a Greek isle, way out beyond Piraeus and Athens, and having a wonderful time, I'm sure, with peace and quiet. And he's probably writing a lot of poetry, which brings us to our poet, Steve Anderson. Steve, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks.
So tell me, where did you grow up?
I grew up in suburban Boston, grew up in Needham, and graduated high school there. And when my wife and I got married, we moved to Norwood. And when we were in Norwood, I was offered a job in Worcester. And I went out beyond Route 128, and there's civilization there. Mm-hmm. There's people there, there's arts there, there's a whole bunch of things. So we lived in Northborough for a while, and then we moved down to Plymouth. Mm-hmm. And we've been there since 2017. Had a great time in Plymouth. There's a lot of stuff to do. The beaches, the woods, Miles Standish State Park. It's tremendous. Mm-hmm. And there's Poetry Art of the Word, which is, I think, the second or third Sunday every month at the Plymouth Arts Center. And my wife volunteers there. So
nice.
She shows up. It's really nice.
So there's a lot of culture in Plymouth.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
There is.
It used to be only a lot of good food.
I'll go with there's a lot of culture now. I'm not going to include myself in the culture, but I would say there's a lot of culture.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. So how did you get involved with writing poetry? Because you had a different life, I understand, before poetry, which was?
I was a lawyer. I was a trial attorney before I became, till I retired. And,
oh no, not another one.
Well, we can commiserate.
You didn't tell me that before.
I was going to surprise you. So I was a trial lawyer, and I did defense work in civil cases. So if somebody fell here in the studio, or hit somebody with your car, or a product malfunction, I'd be hired to represent them. And for a couple years, I thought I could sway people with brilliance. And it turns out I wasn't brilliant enough. So then I realized that what I wanted to do is tell a defendant's side of the story, not to make things up, but tell the defendant's side of the story. And my dad had been a great storyteller. So that kind of fell to me naturally. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with people, meeting a whole bunch of different clients, a whole bunch of different jobs, thousands of life stories. It was tremendous. And then when I retired, I like to tell stories.
But you know what? It's interesting because John Holgerson was a trial lawyer also, worked for the Defenders Department.
Very important work.
Yes, very important.
And much more serious than what I was doing, right? He was keeping people out of jail.
When did you retire?
I retired in 2014, and I helped take care of my folks for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Mom died in 2016, Dad died in 2017. We moved down to Plymouth in 2017, and my wife said, you have to go someplace with these stories. And so I joined a writers group, and I wrote, I thought, a great piece of prose about traveling out to see my mother-in-law in Michigan and the snow in upstate New York and all the skidding and all this, and it had a twist at the end. And I read it to the group, and they all said, oh, that's nice. And there was a retired English teacher, I think junior high school, who slid the paper back across the table to me with all the grammatic and punctuation changes that needed to be made. And I thought to myself, I couldn't do that in junior high school. I can't do it now, so I need to find some way to get around this. So I tried poetry. And so far so good. Took some classes at Academy of Lifelong Learning down Cape Cod. There was a great guy, Peter Saunders, who ran the class. Very encouraging. He said, kept saying, keep coming back and listen to the other poets and learn a style. And he was fantastic. Like
and then you actually developed your own style, right?
Early on, I just tried rhyme and meter and all that sort of stuff. And then somebody pointed out to me that a lot of what I do is almost like a cross-examination. So cross-examination in court, from my perspective, as a defense lawyer.
Short,
crisp,
to the point.
You got it.
I was just thinking, you and John Holgerson are both lawyers. I'm a retired lawyer also. What draws us to poetry and prose, plays, and so forth? Is it the fact that we must create our stories, our arguments, be persuasive with words? What is it?
I think it's we've met people. I've met people and I've listened to their stories, and some of them are absolutely incredible. You listen to people with struggles. You know, I think that I'll talk about a poem at the end of my reading, but I think a really great poem talks about journey, struggle, and hope. And I've met a lot of people who really, it's like, you know, whoa, how is this going to work out for you? And I think that's part of the storytelling. And also, I did it. You know, I did it as a living. I pick it up. You know, I don't know if you did jury trials, but I was doing a jury trial one day, and I was talking to the jury, and they were all listening to me, and I thought, oh, I'm wonderful. And then I turned around and I realized this is not like a comedy show. It's not like a musical production. If any of the audience, that being the jurors, try to leave, a court officer will chase them down and drag them back into the room. So it's a little different, that sort of storytelling.
So, what have as you review the topics that your poems are about, well, what do they center around?
I think they're basically observation. I see things, I write about things. I write about things that I see. I know a lot of people are brilliant with writing about feelings, or they write about nature. I tend not to do that. I tend to write about things that I've seen or experienced in different places that we've been. I'm going to read some poems about traveling. My wife and I have had the chance to travel. And I think too, I was asked, we're going to be gone, or we're traveling again, we're going to be gone. And someone in our association asked me to write a poem for Earth Day. And I thought, I really don't want to do this. I sat down and thought, well, I can do it. So I wrote the poem about Earth Day. A little different than what they expected. I explained that spring is the season when you can finally wash your car in the driveway. And I don't think that's what they expected in terms of Earth Day. But it gives you the opportunity to spin off from that and go someplace else. And I also think the difference to me between prose and poetry is in prose, you have to lay everything out. But in poetry, you can leave a lot up to imagination, right? And I think that's the big thing about poetry.
And you let the reader fill in the blanks.
Yes. Yeah, so if we were to say grandma's house, right? You have a grandma's house, I have a grandma's house. If I describe grandma's house, you lose your grandma's house.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Do you admire certain poets, and do you ever try to emulate them?
My wife and I just, we decided we'd engage in exercise. We began to read Mary Oliver's stuff, and it's incredible.
Yes.
And not only is it incredible.
Not only is that, are you right, but you know how many people have said that?
Yes.
I mean, I have a friend, Mary McCoskey, down in Warwick, New York, where I lived in the Hudson Valley for many years. She's a wonderful poet, and she's published lots of volumes of poetry. And she wrote, when she died, she wrote a poem.
Yeah.
Not when Mary Makovsky died, but when Mary Oliver died, she wrote a poem, an ode to her Mary, and it was wonderful. And so there's so many people who admire her.
And all the things she wrote about, and all the poems.
Yeah, and they're just common everyday experiences. So they reach out to people's hearts and souls. I mean, it's amazing.
Also,
and you don't have to be educated or smart or anything. You just have to be a sensitive person.
Yes.
And to enjoy her poetry.
And so if I were to say to you, President Biden and Vice President Harris's inauguration, I predict that you're thinking about Amanda Gorman, right? So I listened to that entire thing. The only thing I remember is what Amanda Gorman had to say, and how absolutely wonderful that was.
Yeah.
You know, it was so uplifting.
It really was.
It explained everything. President Biden and Vice President Harris gave great speeches, but man, I remember Amanda Gorman. That's what poetry does. It gives us the opportunity to say special things and create special situations.
Yes, and you know, you remember, and Robert Frost, when he gave the at President John F. Kennedy's inaugural. You're too young to remember that, but I don't.
I'm Irish. I was in Catholic school. We watched it.
Okay. And I remember Robert Frost Wonderful. And that's another poet who everybody loves.
Yes. Yes.
And they're very simple. Yeah. And then E. E. Cummings, talk about simple and just listing images.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
and then you have to, it's just like a puzzle. So he always had these words, and then you kind of like, in your mind, put those words together, right?
Yes.
And create whatever.
Create your own image.
Yes, and but you also get the message he's trying to give you, but he makes you work for it.
Oh, yes. Which makes it worthwhile, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's why a lot of young children like his poetry, because their imagination is incredible.
My wife and I celebrated our 42nd wedding anniversary yesterday. So the first poem.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We both agree one of us is very patient. We'll take it no further than that. So the first poem I'll read is about, we go out to Manomet Point in Plymouth and we watch the sunrise in late December every year. And this is a poem about that. After first light, before sunrise, we sit, engine running, heater on, low bank of cumulus over outer cape, waves swashing eclipse space, only suggestion of ocean, gulls dark against morning twilight, call for breakfast. Lower edge of distant clouds glow pink-orange, then gorgeous, glorious, glowing, brilliant, spectacular, warm, radiant. She smiles.
I like that.
Thanks. So this poem is about COVID. During COVID, I was aware of a couple in their 80s. Husband had COVID at home. Wife had COVID in the hospital. He couldn't visit, and he thought she died alone. But I don't think we die alone. And this poem is called The Golden Thread of Memory, and the voice is her speaking to him. My love, your quirky smile, quiet glances, off-key singing, bad knee, nimble mind, buoyant attitude, lost car keys, patience with mom, confident encouragement. Key West hurricane, cross-country vinyl seats, no air Arizona, canned beans, mac and cheese, first house, flooded basement, leaky roof, breezy windows, almost finished repairs, post-dated checks. The children, sleepless nights, front yard catch, Little League, soccer carpools, Sunday morning pancakes, math homework, driving, graduation, weddings, the grandkids, your caring touch, fond embrace, gentle lips, dearest, don't worry, I didn't die alone. My son is a single parent, and when the kids are in elementary school, I'll go down and listen, which is if you're the grandfather, that's your job. You go and you listen and watch. And this poem is called Glow. And it's as follows. They glow when they see him. Smiles in eyes, joy on faces, happiness in run, arms up, midair hugs, seatbelts, how was school, small problems, lifelong advice. Who has homework? Yes, you can, I'll help. No, you're not, turn paper over. They're vegetables, you'll like them. Good for you, because I said so. Just a bite. Share. You two can work it out yourselves. Try. Okay, no one can. It was 20 minutes to bedtime an hour ago. In hamper, not on floor. Really, I can't smell toothpaste. Back in bed, no you're not, I can hear you. Time to fold half laundry and stack dishes. Shave and shower for one, breakfast and lunches for three. Help him because he'll wear anything. Help her because she won't. Glad boys' socks don't have to match. Disappointed girls' tights run. Don't cry over spilt milk. Change clothes. Put lunches in your backpacks. Permission slip, due today, with check, since Monday. Seatbelts. Car line, car line, car line. Quick kiss, now 17 minutes for 32-minute commute. When they see him, he glows. I have a couple on travel, and I think we have 30 minutes altogether.
Yeah, but we can go over. We'll
Okay.
edit.
Thanks. So I have, my wife and I had a chance to go to Japan. I'm a baby boomer, and I grew up on stories of my uncles. My Uncle Tom was at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. He was in the Navy. He fought through the war in the Pacific. My Uncle Joe was an island hopper and talked about sitting on the beach waiting to see if the Japanese were going to invade, be in the front line. And my Uncle Ed was a fighter pilot off aircraft carriers in 1944 and 45. And he talked about the randomness of life and death and about kamikazes. And they all came home. They all added to the richness and fiber of the family. So when we were going to Hiroshima, I didn't know how I would feel. But in the morning, my clock got off. So I was getting up early in the morning and I went for a walk. And this poem is called Early Morning Walk in Hiroshima. Yellow, orange, red sunside, yellow, orange, red sunrise behind. Long, deep western shadows ahead. Stillness, serenity, anticipation of unrealized, unintended, unexpected. Crows, cries, careen off canyons of somnolent apartment buildings, drapes drawn, blinds closed. Slender ocean breeze sways delicate white pine branches. Small soprano songbirds clamor, breakfast in 5. Boulevards, avenues, intersections, absent diesel delivery trucks, silent electric commuter buses, endless parade of clean subcompacts, stop to make right against oncoming traffic, signals activated. Sidewalks await pedestrians, dedicated, determined businessmen, black Oxfords, dark pants, snow white dress shirts, open at collar. Emotionless faces, decisive pace. Professional women, same expressions, uniform, unspoken dress code. Haphazard procession of joyful, delighted elementary school students. Teal bucket hats for girls, baseball caps boys. Backpacks stuffed with animals, lunch boxes. Curious crowds of adolescents, colorful school ties hang loose. Heavy book bags, quick glances, secret conversation, mosey meander. Hiroshima, before the heat of the day. Also had a chance to go to South Africa. And I don't know if you remember, maybe you didn't watch it. There was a TV show here in America called 90210. It was about the wealthy in Beverly Hills.
I know.
And so this poem was written 5 or 6 years ago to make reference to it. And the title of the poem is a quote from Nelson Mandela. And the title is, When People Are Determined, They Can Overcome Anything. South Africa, 11 official versions of the spoken and written word. 90210 type wealth in the stand-in section, downtown Johannesburg. Hunger, poverty, mind-numbing unemployment in Soweto. Optimism, aspirations, diligence, dedication, and deep pride though. Generations of elitist privileged concerned their worlds will collapse, while those in tin-roof villages drink rancid water from government taps. New liberties and freedoms, but same antiquated stratified economic status. No one takes the end of racial oppression, apartheid, or terror for gratis. How to hold together, move forward this conflicted nation in the long run? Said Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. Now I know John's in Greece now.
Yes.
And when we were in Greece, we were told there were hundreds of gods. The Greek mythology had hundreds of gods. I have enough trouble with one, and I think that one has enough trouble with me. But the Greeks had household gods. I initially thought that was a strange idea. But as I mentioned, we lived out in Northborough, out in Worcester County, where it snows, and it snows, and it snows. And when I got back, I realized that I had a household goddess, and this is a poem to her. It's called No Atheists Here. Ancient Greeks, hundreds of gods, heavenly, helpful, intimate, idyllic, and household. Hesta, goddess of the hearth. Minor in the hierarchy, major in influence. Presided over, protected homestead, residence, possessions, livestock. Worship, venerated, revered in small, subtle, personal, domestic rituals. Before cold dawn, third Wednesday in December, foothills of Worcester County, men, homeowners, occasional late adolescent sons, genuflect, prostate bow, before the great and powerful goddess, Aaron's classic 24-inch, 2-stage, self-propelled gas snowblower. 8, 10, 12 inches virgin white snowdrifts, cloak, carpet, conceal, driveways meander ramble to nearly visible road, troubled tract occupants, work for one at 8:30, another dentist 9:15, all schools 1 hour delay. Garage door sways, swings, sings, In remnants of storm's presence, Aaron's the venerable, 7 months silent, covered by discarded lawn chairs, coated with 2 seasons dust pollen, behind multi-gear narrow-tired racing bikes. Operator approaches with hope, fear, regret, confession. Engines, oils, age unknown. Control cables untested. Spark plug unchanged. Petition. Forgive transgressions. Start just this once. Promise. Maintenance completed next Saturday noon, but definitely after Sunday's Patriots game. Supplicant starts worship ritual. Fuel valve moved to on position. Engine key inserted, turned. Choke gently adjusted. Thumb depresses primer bulb 3 times, no more. Throttle moved to start. Dedicated disciple places recoil starter handle between pointer and middle finger right hand. Confronts dogmatic issue greater than creation, determination, salvation. Did last year's gas foul the carburetor? With a sincere conviction that all gods, minor, major, omniscient, are merciful, true believer inhales, arches elbow, and pulls. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I had the chance to deliver Christmas presents in the Brockton area with a group. And what happens is we go to a location, they have the presents wrapped in hefty trash bags and numbers on them, and we have cards. And when I first was delivering the presents, I would look at the kids' faces. But then I realized there were other people in the room, and this is my observation about the other folks in the room. The name of the poem is Christmas Presents, and presence is spelled P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E. Front seat passenger, rusted, worn Ford Econoline van, 70 glaucoma bifocals. My job not to fall on raised cement sidewalk slabs, potholes hidden by aged oak leaves, illuminated by long defunct street lights, trip on narrow threadbare wooden steps that groan, grind, grizzle under mere presence, or avalanche down 3-story spiral staircase completed before Great War. Balanced them back between bulging hefty trash bags, Ernie holds index cards, 4x6, addresses, names, IDs, phone numbers, practices surnames, pronunciations, dials, waits. Christmas presents, 5 minutes. Turn the outside light on, side door. Ted, driver, internal GPS, navigates Shoe City's traffic, one-ways, unregulated intersections, aggressive autos. At each delivery, pries rear doors open, retrieves numbered plastic sacks, checks for dogs. Occasional young man, sparse beard, track shoes. Women just past adolescence, one child in diapers, another on the way. Aspirations untested, bills unpaid. Greet with broad, joyous smiles, warm, thankful words, firm handshakes, gracious, grateful goodbyes. Grandmothers, 40 fatigued. Advice unrecognized, unheeded. Nod, sigh, careful, measured grins. But men of a particular age, bad knees, trouble backs, stand aside, silent, removed, aware, embarrassed, their best, 40 hours, OT, part-time, won't pay for both rent and Santa. Cognizant, self-conscious, disappointed. Their kids believe the big man's elves are 3 white guys in hoodies with 401ks, employer match, dental, and prosperous privileged Christmases. And the last 2 I have are going to be about mental health, which is like a real crisis here in the United States. And the first one's about a parent and a child, and it's called Midnight, and it goes as follows. After Colbert, father waits for Alleluia chorus of garage door. Motor engages, chain whirls, hinges squeal, panels rock. He's home. Another day adrift in relentless ocean storm, worn, waterlogged life jacket, beyond sight of land, no rescue craft on horizon. Generous, gregarious, tow-headed elementary school student, meager grades, major struggles, medical challenges. Little League right fielder, 9th at bat. Now livid, illogical, lonely 28-year-old. Friends faded to joys of life. Partners, parenthood, professions. He burrowed in parents' basement with internet, chat rooms, stale pizza. collects pages of life's autobiography, unpaid bills, collection notices, rejection termination letters, police warnings, restraining orders, no trespassing judgments, arrest warrants, multiple minor misdemeanor charges, court cautions, probation. Neurological deficit diagnosis, hit autism, likely worse. Counselors smile and nod. See you next week. Psychiatrists prescribe green, yellow, two-tone brown pills. Results unclear, side effects uncertain. Parents grope Google in the dark. Facility 12 miles away, 7-month waiting list, offers treatment hope. If he'll go, if he'll stay, if he'll endure. Problems for tomorrow. Father sleeps with eyes wide open. And this last one is I heard a young man in 2019 say a poem at a poetry reading in Plymouth, the public library. 3 lines about journey, struggle, and hope. And this poem is about that. Now, of course, I've made it a lot longer than 3 lines because that's the nature of life. But what he said has stayed with me, and I just thought it was magnificent. So this is called, with deference to all of the poets, this is called The Best Poem Ever as Recalled, not written, as recalled by Steve Anderson. Poetry reading, warm, late spring afternoon, Plymouth Public Library, main branch, Fedlow Room. Podium with microphone faces, 120 chairs, 10 rows, gently divided by spacious center aisle. Participants, AARP eligible. Speak measured tones, perfect grammar, pronunciation. Bifocals mandatory, hearing aids optional, anticipation. Upheaval, ruckus, rear door. Unrestrained, he storms down aisle, arms swing wide arc, head sways side to side, occasional backward glance. 20, 22, spotty 5-day beard, wide-eyed, flared nostrils, pale, thin, disheveled, shirt-tailed over wrinkled khakis, searches for missing someone, something. Sits, second row, third seat left side. Begins subtle rhythmic motion. Gregarious moderator, perfect pitch, generous introduction, first speaker. She starts. Book just published. Deep, audible gasp. He stands, glares, turns, paces room, repeats. Finds comfort, different row, same side. Hands vibrate overhead. Plastic hospital inpatient ID slides over thin right wrist. Discharge against medical advice. Arthur concentrates, continues, competes, with awkward audible sighs, snorts, groans, rasps. Unheard invisible forces propel him upright from chair. Frenzied, frantic, fatigued, fearful eyes scan. Audience aware, anxious, apprehensive. Checks exit signs. He stomps about room, long, awkward strides, deep, irregular breaths, no known destination. Stops, pauses, pivots, bolts, darts, rushes, rear doors swing, slam. Poet's shoulders relax. Verses, rhymes, rhythm continue. Haiku, sonnets, free verse draw polite applause. Silently he reappears. Settles fourth row, third seat, left side. Extends neck, arches back. Arms folded over chest. Right knee bounces, waits. View fixed, stares intently. Final registered reader. Moderator asks, anyone else? He approaches, advances. She smiles, motions, retreats. Hands raised overhead, fingers pointed to ceiling, perhaps heavens. I know I have issues. Palms placed on podium, gaze drops. I want to get better. Hushed, humble, hesitant. I just don't know how.
Wow,
So thank you very much.
that was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
And I liked your interpretation of 3 lines in that last one.
Yeah, I mean, that was quite a poem he said.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. Well, it's very difficult to define your themes because you're all over the place.
Oh.
And that is great because you are really describing life in its many facets. So I want to thank you, Steve, for being my guest.
Thank you. Thank you. I
And
appreciate you listening.
Thank you for watching For the Love of Words. Until next time, Priscilla Almquist Olson, bidding you farewell, and be well.